The Pat Pod, hanging with the Hickey Squad, think he's cool. We do too. Listen up, he speaks the truth. The Pat Pod, be a part of Hickey Squad. No more singing, go, go, go. This is the Pat Hickey Show.
Hi there. Welcome. It is the Pat Hickey Podcast, Pat Pod. I'm Rusty Humphries, talk show host. He's Pat Hickey. He is the star of the show, owner, general managing partner of Peoria Ford and Surprise Ford in Phoenix, Arizona area, but also a great businessman and a guy that has mastered the skills of business. If you can master those skills, can you?
God, I don't know if you're giving me too much credit. Master them. I'm still a student of trying to master them. I don't think anyone will ever master them, but I mean, you know, I have picked up some good tricks to the trade that I think work, and some that don't so much. Some, you know, they change, right?
And that's one of the things I want to talk about, because we have a lot of young people that are watching this show. We're kind of targeting this to people that really want to succeed in life, whether it's business, the good life, and not quite there yet. And it's okay. You don't have to be the best and the brightest yet, because that takes time, right?
Hey man, time is the cure-all to everything, right? And hindsight is 2020. So, you know, remember, if you do things in the past, if you repeat them, that's just stupid.
Right.
If they're bad things and you continue to do bad things, man, it's just stupid. Stop being stupid.
Okay. Yeah. So one of the things I was thinking for this show is, you know, almost going back in time. You know, if however old you are now, Pat Hickey.
I'm 51.
Okay,
I'll tell you.
51-year-old Pat Hickey could go back to 21.
But I told my wife I was 20 on the inside. She's like, "No, you're not 20 on the inside." I'm like, "Yeah, I am. I am."
All right, but if you could go back to 21-year-old Pat Hickey, or I could go back to 21-year-old Rusty and say, "Hey, you know, you're doing stupid things, and you've got some stupid things you're going to do.
Right.
Stop being stupid." Like, what kind of things would you go back and talk to little Pat about?
Well, I would think that here, the number one thing is thinking big, right? I mean, I think the biggest mistake we all do, all of us, we don't think big enough. You know, and we're like, we don't give ourselves enough credit, or we don't give ourselves, hey man, the world's anything you want. Yeah, Scarface said, "The world's my oyster," right? And how big he thought, look how big he got, right? It's a movie, but you know, it's kind of a cool movie, one of my favorite. But at the end of the day, you know, I was stupid. I mean, I really, they call, you know, for lack of a better word, man, I was so young and dumb, and I just didn't know any better, right? I just like, man, I remember, God, if I could make 100,000 a year, man, I would be in tall cotton. I would be, man, if I made 100 grand, life would be easy.
A lot of people think
that.
I
mean, and then I was like, but it was too small. And then it was like 150, and then 200, and 250, and 300. And then, you know, but if you don't, you should set your goals at $1 billion. If you don't hit it, but you only hit 100 million, that'd be okay. Right. I mean, but if you set your goals at, I just want to make $1 million, and you gave up 99 million. Because it's there. I mean, it is, once you get to a certain point, if you ask any guys that have a lot of money, they go, "Oh, my first million was the hardest." I just watched other guys that said my first 100 million was the hardest.
Mine too. My first 100 million has been the hardest.
You know, and I remember, not even, I don't, this is going to sound stupid. This podcast is like, don't stop being stupid. And I'm like, man, if I had 100 million, I don't know what I'd do, right? 100 million. I mean, the most people in the world go, man, if I had 100 million, you talk to really successful guys, they go, at 100 million, I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
I'm just getting started. And that's the difference between, hey, thinking big and not here. And I think stupid's such a bad word to use. I hate to use that word, but here, it gets everybody's attention. Stop being stupid. Stop thinking little. Stop thinking, hey, I can't. Because you're right. You're right if you can, or you're right if you can't. You're right either way. If you think you can, you can. Right. If you think you can't, you can't. And it's up to you, right? I mean, and people used to tell me that, and I'd be like, yeah, whatever. Sure. Okay. I'll go, you know, do my own thing. But as you get older and reflect, I wish I would have listened. I mean, we didn't have podcasts. I had to buy VHS tapes. You know how hard it is for an ADD guy like me to watch a VHS tape for an hour? God, I was like, I'd only listen to about 2 minutes of it. I watched the whole thing, but I heard 2 minutes of it. Right. And most guys that are ADD, they ain't gonna watch the movie. You guys aren't supposed to watching this. You're 2 seconds and you're like, oh God.
You know what's interesting? You mentioned that the very first version of Anthony Robbins tapes, it was called Personal Power.
Yeah.
And the very last cassette accidentally was sent out blank.
Right.
And they sent out hundreds of thousands of them, and like only 10 were returned because nobody got that far.
They did. They just don't do it. Mm-hmm. People they want it quick. They want it easy. They want it now. So, you know, again, there's certain things in life that you do stupid that I wish I would have been told, hey, don't do that. Like here, you know, There's processes like in your business, in the car business. And until you believe the process that your boss is telling you and you execute it flawlessly, you're never going to be really successful.
But doesn't it just seem like stupid rules? I got to go these rules.
I mean,
And you
and
got,
again,
for
hey,
example,
as
you
a
got
young
like
guy,
12
buddy,
steps.
we have, yeah.
Right.
And again, here, when I was 24, I'd be like, yeah, that's a bunch of baloney. I'm just going to go wing it. And hey, sometimes winging it does work. But when I really, I want to say matured, or I grew up a little bit, and I said, hey, I started following the steps that I was taught and my processes that my bosses told me. I started selling more. And then when I started selling more, I had more confidence, started making more, started making more, I started feeling better, started feeling better, started making more, started making more, started selling more. And that it's like in the same way, if you don't do it, it's a reverse. You start selling less, you start feeling worse. You start selling less, you start feeling worse. You start selling less, you start feeling worse. You control that.
Mhm.
But if you wing it, man, it's like rolling the dice, man. You could go roll the dice one time and get a good number, but it's more odds against the bad number, right? The odds 7 comes up.
Right.
That's why if you play craps, anyone that plays craps, they know they're going to say you roll a 7, or that comes up more times than anything. So they have a process. If you go and watch a casino's process,
Yeah.
break their process, watch what they do. They'll fire you on the spot. They don't give you a second, third check. They're like, these are our processes. You do them this way or you're fired, because they know. And again, I lived in Vegas for a short period of time, but I was like, wow, how do you get all these people and you make money and you have all this money, you watch all this money? They have a process. If they have a stupid person, they eliminate that stupid person immediately.
Yeah.
And trust me, they get them. Just like any business, they get stupid
They
people.
get Frodo,
Hey, right, man. They get guys that right. They get guys that they thought they were smart. They look smart, but they refuse to follow the process that the casino put in place that knows they make money. They want to do it their way. If you're doing it your way, hey, man, it might work for a little bit. It might work for a little bit. But if you follow your process that your boss tells you, and again, here, if they're bad process, the company's not successful. I'm not saying that. Hey, there's companies out there that have bad process. Leave that company or buy it or do whatever. But if you have a company that's tried, true, and successful, and they're giving you processes and you're not following to T, and you're not an expert at those processes, you're being stupid. And we're telling you, don't be stupid. Follow your boss's instructions. And again, today's world, it's so hard to find people that just can follow simple instructions. Hey, go do this. They'll go do that and do it their version. And you're like, wait a minute, I didn't tell you to do that. I told you to go do that. And you did that. And wait a minute.
But again, a lot of young guys, and I felt that way, and you did too. Listen, that's
Hey,
an
I get
old
it.
way. It's an old guy way of doing
Hey, and
things, and we don't
again,
need to do it anymore.
hey, I get it. But you can bend it, but not break it, right? And again, everyone has different personality. And this is just my suggestion. You could say I'm full of baloney, right? I mean, I might, it worked for me. It may not work for you, but I have seen many people that have come and fight our system. It's not my system. The system I was trained on, the system that my partner and his father and they just perfected it. That I like, well, wait a minute. If this guy became a billionaire on this process, maybe if I follow it, maybe I'll just become a millionaire. And once I realized that in my brain and I followed it and I put it in other dealerships I started, every dealership became number one. And everyone was like, where'd you get that? I'm like, it's mine.
Okay, so do you expect at first people to blindly follow, be like Forrest Gump, and
I
do
mean,
exactly what his guy tells them to
I mean,
do?
obviously, I think anybody should ask questions and get why. We still want to know the why of anything. Hey, why do I brush your teeth? We all know brushing our teeth is good, but as a kid, we told our parents, "I don't brush my teeth." Did you? I mean, your kid. If you have any kid, if you have kids, you've told them brush teeth how many times, and they don't. You have
Right,
5-year-old says, "I don't want to brush them."
right.
They don't want to brush them because they don't know the value of brushing them. Now we could use the stick or the reward method, right? My dad used a stick. I didn't brush my teeth, I wouldn't have teeth. I gotta say, I'm gonna brush my teeth. I want my teeth. Okay. But we can't do that anymore. They call the police. But you can. I mean, right now, I think with employees or employers, you still have to tell them the why they're doing it, show them how it's successful. It's a show me state. Hey, and again, if you follow the process, you're gonna win. Whatever business, if it's a real estate process that's successful, if it's a stock selling process, it's successful. You need to follow process. Bendable. I like to say here, you can bend our rules. They're just not breakable.
I get,
If
so
you
is the thing then for people that don't understand it is maybe don't have the attitude that you know everything. Might not ask a couple of questions and find out why you're doing these
well,
processes.
sometimes is that here, again, hey, we all have egos. And here, when you started, it was like, hey, well, I've been a big radio host. I'm going to do it this way. I'm like, hey, Rusty, I can appreciate it, but this is the way we do the car business. And once you started doing the right processes, you put your charisma on it, you put your stuff, you were the number one salesman. But at first it was like a challenge because you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. I'm gonna do it my way. And then
Right.
oh, the customer left. Why'd the customer leave, Rusty? Well, okay. And then the next one, right? And then once you started doing the processes we did, and you followed the processes, again, and when we stop this, don't be stupid. Again, it's a derogatory statement to get people's attention, but processes take average people and make them good. A good person will make them great, and it'll take a great person and make them spectacular. And that's what turns people from average to spectacular, by following tried and true processes with their own charisma, with their own touch, with their own little, with their touch of it, with their side.
Okay, if you're an entrepreneur and you don't have processes, how do you create them?
I think that that's the best part about an entrepreneur, is that, hey, an entrepreneur needs to lean on people like an accountant, or like a controller, and again, if you meet any really, really good entrepreneur, he surrounds himself with people that don't do things the well, because most entrepreneurs aren't really good at processes. Hey, I ADD, I'll go fast and famous. But if I surround myself with people that have processes, that can hold me into the processes, and they'll keep me in those guardrails, that's when I do my best. So, I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, I'd hire myself to help to write processes, because if you're just winging it, man, I hope you're winging it right. I
Right.
hope you're winging it right. And again, I'd have a lot of guys that would say, hey, if you're winging it, you're probably stupid. If I don't, and they'd be that rude about it.
Right.
We wouldn't call them nice guys.
No. So we're trying to figure out then, okay, how to even start a process. I guess sitting down and trying to figure out what works
I think you
best
can
for
go on the
you.
internet and find all kinds of there's 100 sales processes out there, right? I mean, again, there's so many industries we're talking to. I mean, I don't think there's one process that fits in. You got to take them, put them in your own like mix of bags, and then set your process. And whatever process you believe in, I think you're going to sell it, you're going to tell it, and you're going to make it work.
Okay. What else would you, if you got in the DeLorean, went 88 miles an hour, went back to yourself, what else did you miss?
Right. I would say, hey, that, again, we started with set your goals higher. I think that here it is in be competitive. I think people are, we want to give participation awards to everybody today. What does that do? I mean, I think that demotivates your high end guys and rewards poor behavior. I mean, we don't live in a world that gets participatory, here, hey, you did good, little Billy. I know you were last place, but try harder next time. I don't think that makes people better. I mean, again, and that's,
What you mean, like in businesses where everybody's treated
I
the
think,
same?
I
I mean,
think
there's guys that
there,
are better and they should be treated better, right?
I
Or
think,
no?
well, I think that, here, the price of autonomy is high, consistent performance. And if you, and we all want autonomy, I want autonomy. I don't want to be micromanaged. Nobody wants to be micromanaged. But if you want to be, you say, hey, I don't want to be micromanaged. I want to be a good salesman. Usually goes, just leave me alone and I'll do it. Just let me do my thing.
Yeah.
If you want that in your job, just do high performance and consistently high performance. I know in anything I've ever done here, we take, and in the car business, we got a 20 car guy. He could come in and basically tell me I'm taking the day off and be like, well, have a good one. You got a 3 car guy that comes in and goes, hey, I'm taking the day off. I'm like, hey, we'll take the rest of the days off too, because you're not coming back. Right. I mean, what's the difference? Hey, that might not be fair. That might not be equal, but life's not equal. There's going to be the haves and the have-nots, unless you just want to take all the people from the rich, take all the money from the rich, give it to the poor, and then have everyone have the same. There's been studies actually on that here, if they took all the wealth, they took all of it and they divided it between everybody, do you know at the end of the day, they said in 7 years, the guys that had it before will have it and the people that were poor will be poor again.
Real well, lottery winners.
I mean, I'm not that smart on that kind of stuff, but I'm just telling you, I think that here we're moving towards a society that here there's going to be winners, there's going to be losers.
Mhm.
Hey, and here that doesn't mean you bash the losers. Hey, teach the losers how to become winners. But some people just don't want to win.
Right.
They just
Right.
don't want to win.
Mhm.
They say they do, but they don't do winner habits. They don't do winner behaviors. They don't do the things it takes to be successful. They want to complain about it. They want their free stuff.
Right.
But then here, I don't know. I've never been given anything. I've always had to go get it or go take it. And again, I don't want to be. And I don't want to be given anything,
Right.
because here,
Mhm.
anything that's been given to me easily, I don't really respect or honor anyway.
What do you tell your sons? You've got sons,
I've got
and
3
and
girls.
they've, I mean, let's be honest, they've had it a little bit easier than you did
They
growing up.
have, right? They have. And
What kind of
again,
things do you teach them?
Well, I think that, the first thing is, here, I think that at the end of the day, it's not always been easy though. I've given them a lot of stuff, but like some of them that have come to work for me, like, oh, Dad, I can't work for you. Oh, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, I don't want that kind of, you know. And again, I think that's if you talk to anybody that has a dad that's successful or is it's hard to go work for your dad because even if you do good, it's never good enough. And if you do bad, oh, it was the owner's son or it was that. So I mean, that's a hard position. But I do tell them that here, you just do the best you can. Try to outwork everybody. Try to be there earlier than everybody. Try to stay later than everybody, and try to do more than everybody. If you do at least that, and you still aren't the best, hey, maybe that profession isn't for you. But whatever profession you do, that if you're there earlier, you're there later, you work harder than everybody, and you continue to educate yourself, and you have passion about it, you're going to be better than everybody eventually. It might not come tomorrow, or might come that minute, but if you do that, whatever field you're in, I just never met anybody that it's like somebody told me you can't run 5 miles a day and be fat. Well, I've proven that wrong, but I mean that's kind of true. They
Yeah.
say that you burn so many calories unless you have a thyroid problem, you have something. But if you run every day, show me a guy that runs every day 5 miles a day. That is a fat. It's very rare. I mean, there probably some guy who'll call me and say, "Hey, you're a liar." You're right. There
Right.
might be that one, right? But majority of guys that run every morning, what do they look like? It's a habit to be healthy, right? We know that if you get up every day and you do some sort of exercise, you're healthy. You eat healthy. You're healthy, right?
Right.
But some of us are stupid, like me. I eat cheeseburgers at McDonald's. So my wife's like, "Why do you eat those cheeseburgers?" Because I love them, man. Why do you drink Coke? Man, I'm addicted. I don't know, man. They put something in McDonald's Cokes that are better than. I mean, they just. I mean, I have to have one. I mean, I don't know.
They're good.
They are, man. They're good. They're good. But
So all of that sounds great. One of the things that you mentioned, and I agree with it also. I agree with everything.
Go ahead.
But never stop learning. That's one thing people kind of go, hey, I'm out of high school, I'm out of college,
Right.
I'm done.
And you know what I love too is about, here when I was coming up in the sales industry, you had to buy VHS. You had to buy them. Like if
Mhm.
you really wanted to get better, you had to spend money. And I didn't have any money.
Right.
And like to borrow money to get better. I'm like, some guys had that forward thinking. I did it. I was cheap. I was like, I ain't gonna spend money on VHS tapes. I don't even have money to buy food. But today, everything's free. I mean, it's the greatest thing in the world. You can go on YouTube and learn how to do anything you want to sell, to buy, to do this, if you really want to search it out. And it's free.
Mhm.
I try to, a habit I try to do every day. I try to watch 2 videos every day of someone different, not the same guy. Just, and again, hey, I can't be
Like
Cardone.
Tom and Jerry one and Bugs
Yeah,
Bunny
I
another
like,
one.
hey, exactly what cartoons I can watch, right? But I mean, I try to
Who do you like? Who do you watch?
man, I just watched this brand new guy, Dan Pena. But again, he's crazy. I love it though. But he's a billionaire that just tells you as is. He says the F word every second. He's MFing people. He's crazy. But man, if you listen to the message, and the guy's good. I like him. I like Cardone. I like Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins. Who couldn't like Tony Robbins, right? But there's so many guys that don't even have a famous name. I can't even remember their name. But you watch him, you're like, hey, that guy's pretty good. That guy's going to be some good someday.
And if you just learn one thing, right? That's all you're looking for.
Hey, man, it's like information overload, right? If you keep putting your good stuff in your body, what's going to happen? You're going to be healthy. You keep putting bad stuff in your body, you're going to be unhealthy. You keep putting positive, good things in your brain, you're going to do good. I don't care how negative you are. I don't care. Eventually, that's going to be overcome by all the positive. You just keep. But I mean, by time. But hey, it's easy to get all the negative. You hear turn off the news. By the way, right? You turn on the news, it's like, oh, they're bombing this. Oh, they got disease here. Oh, they got this. They got this bad. Because if they just said, hey, everything's great, you'd be like,
You never
well,
watch.
why do I want to watch the news today?
Right.
Everything's great. Again, today's everything's great. Okay. You wouldn't watch it. That's what they want you to watch it. So they'll even make up stuff, they say.
Right.
That's not even true because it's like, if it ain't drama, if it ain't happening, you won't watch it. We love drama. Right. So, I mean, you got to seek out positive things. You got to seek out positive people. And one thing you asked me what I'd ask my son, just in my brain, I'd be like, here, what I find is that positive people hang around positive people. Like eagles don't soar with crows. Why not? That's just animals. I mean, if you have an eagle, they're majestic and they're killers, and they don't hang out with like other birds. Right? They're like, you ever see an eagle hanging out with a pigeon? No, they eat them. They'll kill them. They'll eat them. Right?
Okay.
You want to be an eagle or you want to be a pigeon, right?
Right.
I like eagles better. I mean, I like the way they look. I like the way they kill them. They're just dominant, right? I mean, as a guy, you want to be an eagle. and we use that as on the money. It's dominant, right? You got to start surrounding yourself with eagles and people that are going to be positive influence. And if there's any negative guys in your life, man, you got to get rid of. And that was hard for me because here, misery loves company, right? You're doing bad. You're probably sitting there and you're going, wow, man. Yeah, but Billy comes and tells me, so you justify, go, Billy's doing worse than I am, so I must be okay.
Right.
Or Billy only sold this, but Billy's pretty good. I think Billy's good, but he sold that. I only sold this, so I'm better than Billy. But hey, I hate to tell you, Billy sucks. And you're right hanging out with the suck. You're suckster too, right? So get around guys that if you want to be successful, stop being stupid. Hang around guys that aren't stupid. Hey, if you're hanging around guys that are all stupid, you know what happens? You become stupid.
Yeah.
You hang around guys that are all smart, you become smart. It'll rub off on you. You hang around billionaires, you're going to pick up things. Now, billionaires won't hang around most guys. You know that?
Right.
Because what does everyone want from a billionaire? Their money.
Right.
And a guy that made billions don't want to give up his money. So it's hard to hang out with billionaires, but hey, you can hang out with millionaires. You can hang out with guys that are successful. You can hang out with guys and here. It's a cheap lesson I learned is that here, it's easy to hang around losers. They want you to hang out with them because they're looking for someone to pump them up and bring you down to their level to justify their behavior. So again, I tell my boys that here, man, look for guys, and again, as any parent out there, here, your circle of your friends' influence is usually what your son become. So I try to watch my son's friends. And it's amazing to watch, all my boys are different. They all have a different set of friends. And my really good son that I would consider like, hey, he's easy to manage. He's like, he does, he makes his bed without telling him. He comes in and he's very conscious about things. His friends are the best as well.
Yeah.
Like his friends they're the nicest kids in the world. My other son that's kind of a little pushy, little edgy. His friends are a little pushy, a little edgy. They're a little, so, and again, good kids, by the way, they're all good kids, but they're just, you can see birds of a feather flock together. So if you want your kids or yourself to be successful, hang around successful guys. Don't hang around guys that are bringing you down because people are judging you. If people see you hanging around people at work that are not good, they assume you're not good. I don't care how good you're doing. If you're hanging out with, two-car Fred, you're two-car Fred's buddy. And they're not going to promote two-car Fred's buddy.
No, you don't want to be that guy.
Right.
Well,
So,
great stuff. And this is one of those shows you want to keep learning, keep watching. This guy knows what he's talking about. Again, do us a favor. Do us your favor. That is subscribe to the show, whether you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching us on Roku or Apple TV or Fire TV, Amazon Fire TV. Also, subscribe at Amazon, at Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts. We sure appreciate you. You can also find Pat Hickey on his websites, Peoria Ford or Surprise Ford, and on Facebook at
HickeyNum1@gmail.com.
HickeyNum1@gmail.com. We sure appreciate you watching, and we're going to keep coming. You keep coming back. We sure appreciate you. I'm Rusty Humphries. He's Pat Hickey, and thanks for checking out the Pat Pod, the Pat Hickey Podcast.